Sunrise over the battlefield of Gettysburg, December 7th, 2018, 3 years ago. As the sun rised over me, I walked through the battlefield that day. I walked for probably about an hour and a half, all the way from the parking lot of the National Soldier Cemetery down to Devil's Den and back. During that walk, I never saw a single human soul. This may have been the only time I have ever been in Gettysburg and never come across another human being. There were some weird and unusual events of that day during that walk. For one, I heard cannons go off at 2 different points, and I had a weird experience down at Devil's Den. I've always wanted to go back and try to walk the same route I did at the same time, and I'm going to do that now, 3 years later, in December, in Gettysburg.
Alright guys, so I'm here in Gettysburg. I'm right by the Jenny Wade house in the parking lot. I'm pretty much just waiting for the sun to come up so I can go walk the battlefield the same way I did 3 years ago. Since I've been here about 10 minutes, I've literally seen 3 shooting stars right above me. And it's not as cold as it was 3 years ago on December 7th, 2018. It's in the upper 30s today. I believe that day it was in the upper 20s. And I remember there being frost on the grass. I don't believe there's any frost on the grass today. It's not cold enough. But yeah, I'm just going to wait for the sun to rise a little more. And then, well, the sun's not even technically up yet. The camera doesn't really do it justice, but you can see a little blueness in the sky. It's getting there. It's about 6 a.m. So I'm going to wait till the sun starts to rise. And then I'm going to head out into the battlefield. Alright guys, so it's now technically 6:51, so 30 minutes before sunrise. So I can technically be out here. This is the earliest time I can be on the battlefield here. And it's pretty quiet like it was that same day 3 years ago. As I look back at the parking lot, there are 2 other cars there. One of them seems to be abandoned. There's no one there. Whether or not someone left their car or they're out in the battlefield, I don't know. And then the other person is sitting on a bench over there. But other than that, there's no one else here. I remember the feeling of 3 years ago walking here and saying, wow, there's no one here. That was the first time I ever really realized how isolated Gettysburg could be. It was only my second time ever visiting here. So I really was amazed by how I had this whole place to myself. Again, it's not as cold as it was on that day 3 years ago, but it's very similar with the sky, the sunlight coming up over the tree lines here. I walked all the way from here to Devil's Den, and I really didn't feel anything creepy or unusual here. I was just amazed by how peaceful and quiet it was, essentially, and taking in the views, the mountains out there, and the sunrise. Again, on that day, the grass was frosty. There's no frost on the grass today. And even though I haven't seen anyone in the battlefield yet, no cars, no people, I just feel like it's going to be a different day. Even though it was December in 2018, it just seems like with it being a little warmer, it's in the upper 30s, but with it being a little warmer than it was that day, I feel like the chances of me being alone for an hour are pretty slim. But if I get down the Devil's Den, which I don't know if I'm going to walk all the way down there or if I'm going to actually just walk a little bit down this road and then get in the car and drive down the Devil's Den. But if I get down there and I'm completely alone again, that will be a pretty cool experience. Anytime you're down there alone, it's always pretty cool. Right now, I don't know if it could just be me, but I'm feeling a little uneasy now. As I walked to this point, I just felt like there was someone behind me. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I just felt like there was someone standing behind me. Now again, one of the highlights of this walk 3 years ago was hearing the sounds of a cannon. Not once, but twice. And I think when exploring legends of the paranormal at Gettysburg, you always hear about hearing ghost cannons or seeing apparitions or something like that. And I never thought I would ever hear cannons go off. Now, it's one thing if you're here in the middle of the day, especially in the summer, because there could be a lot of stuff going on. But when you're here in the dead of winter, when the sun is rising on a weekday, and you hear the sound of cannons go off, there's not really much you can do to explain that at all. Right there you can see the Pennsylvania Monument, which you can actually climb to the top of that, and it gives you a pretty good view. There's stairs in there, and 360 view from up there. Now up ahead, this is where I captured an apparition one time. It was in the shape of a human body, but it was clear, you could see through it. But it was one evening. I was parked where I'm parked now, and I did the same walk, and it was getting dark. There was still some blueness in the sky, but it was essentially dark. And I said, okay, I guess I got to turn around and walk back. It's getting too dark. So I turned around and I was filming, and in the camera you see this apparition walk right by me, and it doesn't even pay me any attention. It just walks right by me and walks into the field, and it gets smaller as it walks into the field, and it just vanishes into the ground. But I captured that apparition right up here about this point, and that was in January of 2019 when that happened. All right, so there's the sun continuing to rise over Gettysburg, and I'm getting pretty close to Devil's Den now. Okay, so here I am at Devil's Den. From the looks of it, I'm completely alone, but I don't know. There might be someone around the other side. I'm not sure yet. But I'm gonna climb up the rocks and see what happens. Here's someone lost their jacket or something over there, just sitting there. All right, so let's climb up here. This is literally only, if there's no one on the other side, this is literally only my third time I've ever been here completely alone. Oh, it's kind of just weird. One story about Devil's Den is the story of the Texas soldier. He's been reported throughout history up here at Devil's Den. And I guess the last accountable report of him being seen was 2010. And he apparently, what he does is he shows himself. He says, "What you're looking for is up there." He points towards the little round top. And then he vanishes. And he is one of the legends of Devil's Den. Devil's Den is said to be one of the most active places in Gettysburg, but also it tends to be one of the most rare places to be alone in ever in Gettysburg. It is one of the most visited spots here in Gettysburg for tourists. Again, when I was here 3 years ago, I didn't climb up to the top here. I went down to the bottom. And I stood there. And I started to get that pain in my hands. And then I started feeling like this pain in my stomach, in my chest, like a stabbing pain. And I decided, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I got to get away from here. I walked over towards that wood bridge down there. Once I got to that bridge, the pain instantly went away. Now, from other stuff I've investigated here at Gettysburg, including the Rosewoods, it appears that a lot of spirits don't want you here. Technically, if you're in this area, you're invading their space. They want you to leave. And I know that because in the Rosewoods, a lot of times when we ask those questions, we get responses to them. People, voices saying leave, and angry sounds. So I'm up here right now. I haven't seen anything unusual. Haven't heard anything unusual. And I'm completely alone. No vehicles have passed by. Nothing. So I would say with Devil's Den being completely abandoned, I guess, it was good that I decided to walk all the way down here, because when I was seeing all those cars pass me by up in the battlefield, I thought there was no way. But I guess most of them were just passing through. They weren't really stopping, so I guess that's why I'm alone down here. I'm going to hang out around here a little more. And I'm just going to keep filming. If nothing happens, I'll just edit it. But I'm going to see if I can come in contact with that soldier from Texas, the Texas soldier. All right, so I'm going to leave Devil's Den now. Nothing unusual happened up here today. There you guys have it. Devil's Den. Completely alone. For only the third time in my life. Well, now I am going to walk back to where I started this journey at today. This video here today really wasn't to ghost hunt per se. If that was the case, I would have taken all my equipment and gone to the Rosewoods, where I know I would have experienced something related to the paranormal. Today it was essentially just take a walk in my past. 3 years ago, during this time of year, I walked the same walk I just did. And that day, it sits in my memory so well 3 years later. It is a moment of my life I'll never forget. Why? I really don't know. Maybe it's the peacefulness and the quietness of having one of the most popular national parks in the United States all to myself. Or maybe it was the explorer in me visiting Gettysburg for only the second time in my life at that time and finding new things. Either way, I really am glad that I got to recreate that video here today. For those of you who are new subscribers, you probably never even seen the original video. Again, it was quite early in my YouTube career, and I just wanted to create a better quality version of that video. So guys, as I'm looking up there at Little Round Top, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is Fixed Image, saying peace.